Welcome back to the channel, fellow heroes. Today we're going to be talking about the upcoming Magic Gathering set Spider-Man that comes out on September 19th. I've got Greg and Kyle with me here today to help walk through the set. So with most sets, we kick off with some new mechanics or perhaps some returning mechanics. Greg, what can we expect as far as rules go in this set?
So for new Spider-Man set, there are a couple of new unique mechanics tied to the heroes and villains. So on the hero side, we're going to see web-slinging as a mechanic. You think of web-slinging, you can visualize Spider-Man swooping in and pulling someone out of danger while throwing himself at the prey. So what web-slinging is an alternative cost to cast a spell. So you can choose to cast a spell for its web slinging cost if you pay the listed cost for the web slinging and return a tapped creature you control back to your hand. So return the tapped creature as part of the cost. So if you don't have a tapped creature, you're not going to be able to do it. Where this comes as a benefit is it usually reduces the cost of the cards you're casting with web slinging. It also allows you to replay cards that might have really important effects, like an enters effect that you want to trigger a second time. So that's the first new mechanic. And the second one is on the villain side of things. We have Mayhem. So with Mayhem, that allows you to cast a card from your graveyard for an alternate cost if you discarded it this turn. So if you cast a rummage or loot effect, which has you draw and discard, you could discard a card with Mayhem, and then you could play it that turn. Your normal timing restrictions apply. So if you discard a creature with Mayhem, so you discard Chameleon is a card with Mayhem. He's a clone effect. So let's just say you discard him to a rummage effect. You can then cast him from your graveyard, just like you would cast any other creature card. Same timing effects apply. So it's a great way to sort of get an extra bonus if you're casting things like Faithless Looting. You could choose to discard these Mayhem cards to make your Faithless Looting your upside. You're still able to play that card you discarded. On top of those two new mechanics, we do have some returning mechanics. Connive is back. So when a creature you control connives, you draw a card and then discard a card, which plays into Mayhem. I also kind of like that connive sounds like a villain kind of mechanic. So you draw a card, discard a card, and if you discard a non-land card this way, you can put a +1/+1 counter on a creature that connives. So again, if you have a creature that connives, you could discard that Chameleon, for example. It's a non-land card. You get to put a +1/+1 counter on something, and then you can cast that Chameleon that turn. So it really plays well with Mayhem. The other thing we have is the return of modal double face cards that transform. So Peter Parker, Miles Morales, Gwen Stacy, Norman Osborn, and Eddie Brock all have double face cards. So it shows them at first as their secret identity or as their normal selves. Then you can flip them into their superhero alternate. So you can play your Peter Parker, and then you could transform him down the road into Spider-Man. So those are back. And then we also have the return of the modified mechanic. So this is a mechanic that cares about creatures that have been in some way modified. So you may have equipped them with something, or you have put an aura on them, or you put a +1/+1 counter on them. Essentially, you've done something to modify that creature. So you'll have a card that says, when a modified creature deals combat damage, do this. So that's something that to keep an eye out for as well as the modify keyword. So those are the new mechanics. Not a large list of them, but some really fun and interesting mechanics that you'll be able to play with that.
Sounds like they've done a really good job of bringing mechanics in that really fit the superhero, the supervillain theme of the set too. So that's kind of cool to see that they've thought about that. They're not just kind of going willy-nilly with mechanics that don't align with the theme of the set. So there's a ton of really cool new treatments for cards in this set as well. And I think some of them are really geared towards comic collectors and perhaps people that are being introduced to this set for the first time. Kyle, what's cool with the treatments for this set?
All right. Well, I mean, if you're a collector, it's time to get out your pen and paper because there is a ton of stuff going on in this set. You might have to get out a spreadsheet if you want to figure out where you can collect everything. That might be where you need to be. But we've just like in previous sets, you're gonna find borderless cards in your play boosters. But if you're looking for specific ones, like the borderless, like the classic comic book artwork on some of these ones, you'll only find those ones in collector boosters. But there are the nice thing about these is that we're gonna see these comic book changes. So like these modal dual face cards, when you get to see them in the like in those extended borderless arts, some of them even connect. Like characters are connected and we're making scenes, so there's some borderless scene cards that you can get in your collector boosters as well, so you can get those going on. Like there is a feast of stuff going on. So there's 14 borderless panel cards is what I'm talking about there, and there's the borderless scene cards. So you can assemble a whole different scene. And those ones are both in play boosters and collector boosters, which is absolutely nice, so that we can get those in our standard drafts and our pre-release kits. So shout out to all of our events. And then, man, we've got so many here. So with all of these, full art lands are back, and this cycle is not one you're going to want to sleep on. The spiderweb basic lands are absolutely stunning, and so those look really fantastic this time around. And let's see here, what other ones are really exciting. Textured foils are back this time around in collector boosters only, so you want to get your hands on a few of those if you can. And then what's our chase card this time around? It's the Soul Stone. So the Soul Stone is our first of the Infinity Stones. And that one is going to be available in some really special treatments. So if you're a big collector, if you want to hit the big money, there is a special version of the Soul Stone that is available. You can get Thanos holding it in a borderless treatment, but if you're even luckier, you can get it in like a textured foil that looks like crazy dragon's egg nonsense thing, and it is fantastic. And that would be the biggest hit in the set. So if that's what you're chasing, that's the one to chase. I think that. Is there any other like specific ones that anyone remembers that stand out?
I really dig the borderless web-slinger cards.
Oh yeah, so that's the ones with the
Get the
yeah.
the webbing.
And those ones are available in all styles, aren't they? Yeah, play and collector boosters, which is always nice. I love it when I can get something fancy, like my booster fun. If I can get that in my standard booster as well as my collector booster, that just adds to it.
Yeah, scoring
So
some
much
of that
fun.
stuff in draft just makes draft even better, right?
Oh, when you open that up and you can tell that there's a borderless card in the back of your pack, you know there's something exciting. There's something special.
Yeah, exactly. So that kind of carries us into Kyle kind of gave us some idea of what products you can get some of these in, but we've got a couple of different products and a couple of different things than we've seen in the last few sets. So Greg, what are we going to be able to pick up off the shelf on the 19th?
So if you're looking to pick up some Spider-Man on the 19th, or a couple things you want to keep an eye out for. One is your usual play and collector booster boxes. So if you're looking to quickly build or boost up your collection, if you're new to Magic and Spider-Man is your gateway, play boosters are a great option to get great value, crack a lot of packs. And as Kyle mentioned, there's also the collector boosters and collector booster boxes, which give you, uh, you know, they're a little more pricey, but also give you that bling, all those shiny things that a lot of commander players, for instance, are looking for, to make some of their decks and cards stand out. There are some of the like the textured foils, for instance, are a good example. Some card types you can only get in your collector boosters. So that is something for those who want the shiny things to consider when they're picking up packs. If you do buy a play booster box or collector booster box, there's the buy a box promo foil, which is Spider Sense. One thing that's missing from this set is commander decks. So if you're looking for Spider-Man commander decks, you're going to have to build your own, which shouldn't be too hard given the glut of great legendary creatures in this set. Lastly, the gift boxes. So you can get the gift boxes that have in them 9 Magic the Gathering play boosters, 1 collector booster, 30 basic lands, which are 15 traditional foil basics and 15 non-foil. You do get 1 traditional foil Gwenum, 2 reference cards, and a spin down die. And I said that was the last. Oh, and you also get your storage box. And I also forgot to mention one last one, which is the Spidey's Sensational Showdown Scene box. So Kyle was mentioning the cards where the art ties together. So the scene box is one example of that. So in that you get 6 traditional foil borderless scene cards that all tie together in a single piece of art. You also get 6 cards that represent just the art. So it's just the art cards. From those cards, you get a display easel if you want to display those 6 cards, and then you also get 3 play boosters on top of that included in the box. So there are a few different ways if you want to enjoy your Spider-Man Magic cards that you can pick them up, crack some packs, and build your collection.
Nice. Speaking of, building your collection or maybe making your commander deck, what specifically in this set are you guys looking forward to? What are you looking to maybe building a deck around, or just adding into an existing deck, or even just seeing on the table across from you that you're looking forward to? Kyle, what's caught your eye?
Oh, this set is really interesting because there's a ton of support for a bunch of different archetypes. I'm gonna be pitching these cards for people for everything from their Soul Sisters deck with Aunt May, to Gwenum for their Gonti style decks. Like there's a ton of really cool cards. I'm not so but they're hidden. For me, I always find that I find these cards when I get into the drafts and into the events. But Eddie Brock is one that I'm super excited for, because I love reanimation strategies, and I love modal dual faced cards because you get 2 ways to play them. And these ones are so neat because they've got a transform ability on them. So normally with modal dual face cards, you have to pick one side and then you're stuck with it. But these guys have transform abilities built onto them. So you play them on the front side, and then later on you can figure out how to get them to flip to their backside. Or if you play them on their backside, maybe you even figure out how to flip them to their front side. Like they're so interesting. So that's a design space we've never seen before. And we've got a ton of uncommons and commons that are just role players. Spider Manifestation, I believe it's called, or Spider Mutation. It's like a common that's a 2-mana tapper, or 2-mana mana dork. Spider Manifestation, 2-mana mana dork with reach. He's a 2/2, so he's got stats. And then whenever you cast a spell that's mana value 4 or greater, untap it. So I'm excited to put that in my Eshki Dragon Claw deck that I've been working on, Dragon's Roar, Teamer's Roar. And so I'm super pumped about some really small little role players that are just going to see a ton of play.
Awesome. Greg, what are you looking forward to?
This is a set that, as I mentioned before, has a lot of really cool legendary creatures that tie in with the comics. So a lot of those character cards like Norman Osborn, Peter Parker are cards that'll be fun to build around. So I'm really looking forward to those. I'm very much a black player. So the Soul Stone is a card that I'm eager to see. I think a lot of people will be because it is a card that basically reads, "Hey, are you playing black in your deck? Add the Soul Stone to your deck." It's a really powerful card that can slide into so many decks very, very easily. Um, I'm looking forward to building Mr. Negative. I'd love to get my hands on a copy of him, just as a really engaging card that involves swapping life totals, getting benefit from that. Um, but even as Kyle mentioned, there are some really standout commons and uncommon. Rhino's Rampage is probably the best fight spell we've seen in a long time. So it allows you to not only fight, but if you deal uh, extra damage, excessive damage, then you also get to blow up a permanent of mana value 3 or less that any player controls. So I can kill someone's mana dork with this fight spell or some key creature, and then also blow up someone else's soul ring. So it's a lot of value on a fight spell.
Soul ring.
Yeah, so I mean, there's a lot of really interesting cards. A lot of them are twists on cards we may have seen before. So Electro Assaulting Battery, for instance, is very similar to Bergie. And one other card I want to mention is Imposter Syndrome, which is one of those cards I think is going to lead to a lot of really great game moments, those really funny game moments. Imposter Syndrome is a 6-mana blue card that it's an enchantment. There's the battlefield. Or sorry, it allows creatures that when they deal combat damage, any non-token creature that deals combat damage, you make a copy of it. So you clone your non-token creatures if they deal combat damage. Great if you have anything with evasion. If you have, imagine playing this with some big flying dragons. Like, okay, well, I've just hit a couple players with these 2 flying dragons. Now I have 4 flying dragons next turn. So it's not hard to get a lot of value off it. You do need to be able to get in and hit with it. But I think it's one of those cards that when you play it, if you attack and connect, you're going to have a good time. You're going to have a story. But I think that's going to be a fun card to keep an eye out.
So that leads us up to when do we get to play with these? We've got pre-release coming up and a bunch of other events. Kyle, what are the dates on these events?
All right, so we have our pre-release events are coming right down the pipeline. September 19th and 20th, we've got events starting at 6 p.m. on Friday, and then 11 a.m. and 4 p.m. on Saturday, and they're going to be a blast. I'm really excited about that. And then the week after that, Friday, release day Friday, I'm going to start the friendly neighborhood drafts. And guess what? This is a pick 2 draft. This is the first time ever at Heroes Beacon, first time ever at for a set. This set is small. It's 150 cards. So we are going to be doing this special pick 2 draft. There's only 5 archetypes, like Greg mentioned in the mechanics. There's only a few archetypes. And so all of this comes down to this pick 2 draft that's going to start on September 26th at 6 p.m. Oh, and our standard showdown events will be on Monday nights. So Monday nights, pull out your standard deck at 6. We'll get underway. And so starting that on November the 1st, we'll be doing $10 for standard showdowns. If first the Spider-Man final battle, and then we've got commander parties coming up on October the 1st and October 25th.
All right, that's a wrap on another video primer for the newest set of Magic the Gathering. I want to thank Greg and Kyle for being with me today, and hope to see you all in the store for some events. And if you're looking to order some product, you can do that on our website. We'll see you next time.